Welcome, everyone, to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I am Stuart McIntosh. I will be chairing tonight's meeting. Let me introduce my colleagues. Starting at the end, we have Charlie Law, John Brown, Marty Muir, Mary Ellen Carpenter, and Greg Jackno. Just a reminder, to get an application approved, you need a majority vote of the 5 voting members tonight. So the 5 voting members will be Charlie, John, myself, Marty, and Mary Ellen for tonight's meeting. So who will be presenting tonight?
It's going to be a combination of both of us, but I will start off and then my partner will continue.
Perfect. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Pratt, and this is my partner, David Black. Our company is Pratt and Black Architects here in Bronxville. We are here on behalf of our clients, the owners of 87 Parkway Road, which has a pre-existing non-compliant house on it, and we are asking for an area variance to allow us to extend the property into the rear yard on the ground and second floor level. That extension will allow them to have an eat-in kitchen, a mudroom, storage on the ground floor, and have a master bedroom upstairs with an ensuite master bath. So.
Okay, that's it.
We can start
Okay,
now
so
just looking through
going through the
drawings.
slides, these are the conditions. If we can go, we'll go right to the drawings, the larger.
Greg, can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Somewhat,
All right.
Yeah, I'll move the
Yeah.
other side. Yeah.
Go back, I'm sorry, start with A00, yeah. So next slide. So these are our drawings. This just shows general notes, which are required by New York State. The next slide is specific to Bronxville zoning review. And what we've highlighted here are the 3 areas in the squares which we are enlarging the existing noncompliance. Specifically, the rear yard, the maximum coverage, and the floor area ratio. Next slide. This shows the existing house in purple. We've circled the rear yard, which is currently non-compliant. The rear yard should be 30 feet, and it's currently 26'9". The front yard and side yards are also non-compliant. So it's our understanding that in this zone, a lot has to be 12,000
square feet.
12,000 square feet. This lot is 2,500 square feet. So that in itself is non-complying. And so a lot of these things that would normally apply to a lot of 12,000 square feet, it's difficult to fit a house on a 2,500 square foot lot and still meet all of those. So again, the existing non-compliance, the front yard, the side yards, and the rear yard. The only one that we're proposing to change is the rear yard. So the next slide shows, I'm sorry, go back one more. I thought yeah. So the red dashed rectangle shows the area that we're expanding to the west. West is up on this drawing, north is to the right. And I just wanted to mention as well that this is up on Parkway. This is up on the hill, so this is not in the flood zone. Mm-hmm. Also, the park is behind this house, not our house. Behind this house is the park. So while we're encroaching to the west, we're not getting any closer to any other residences, and we're not going to be obstructing views or light on any other residences. So continuing, the next slides just are photos of the existing house, and what you can see is that the houses to the north and south, that's to the left and right, are actually already deeper than this house. So they're even more non-compliant than this house. So we're sort of just proposing to build out, not even to the same degree that the other houses have. So continuing through, the next slide again shows that's the neighboring house to the north, which has a much deeper, pre-existing non-compliant house as well. And then the next slide, this shows the house to the south, which has a garage in the rear yard, which would be non-compliant. Continuing to the next slide, this shows the existing cellar. And the existing cellar, we're proposing to just do some work within the cellar to better define the laundry and mechanical room, but we're not proposing to increase the area of the cellar. We're not proposing to do any excavation in the cellar. We are proposing to do, on the next slide, if you go to the next slide, we're proposing to do some new foundation work in the red square to support the structure that we're building out.
So the foundation for that back porch is adequate? Or do you have to?
No, we're going to do new footing.
A new foot, okay,
Yeah, but we're not excavating, we're not creating any more space below.
right.
So the next slide shows the existing first floor. And then the slide, in continuing, this red rectangle shows our proposed extension, which would have the mudroom and the eat-in kitchen. And then, yeah.
One thing I just want to make sure is clear, just in terms of the footprint at the ground floor level, there is an existing porch that extends out virtually half of the extension that we're asking for here. So if we go back one slide, you can see that there's this porch. It's not enclosed, but it is covered. It's, has steps going down. So we're taking over that space and adding some additional, because just staying within the porch footprint was difficult to get the program that the client wanted.
Mm-hmm. We'll see that again on the elevations. So continuing up to A103, this shows the existing second floor, which, as you can see, has 3 bedrooms and 1 sort of rather small bathroom. So going to the next slide, you can see by increasing this, it's still 3 bedrooms, but now there's a master which has its own bathroom, and then the other 2 can share the existing bathroom. But it makes it much more habitable, livable space. And then the next plan is the existing attic plan, which we are doing, we're doing nothing to. The next slide just shows that's the roof that's going to be above the addition in the back. So no change to the attic level. So continuing to the next slide, this is the front elevation, which is the existing west elevation. There's going to be no change to that. This is what you see from the street. You won't see any change from the street. On the next slide, what's that? Oh, it sounded like you were going to say something. On the next slide, the existing south elevation, and you can see the rectangle, the black rectangle shows the existing porch. And then the next slide, that red area, that's the westward expansion that we're proposing. And then you can see as well in the attic level, there's no expansion. And then the next slide this is the west elevation, the existing west elevation, showing the porch below and the existing house above. And the next slide shows this is what the expansion would look like with a shed roof above. And then continuing on to the next is the existing north elevation. You can see on the right is the existing porch. And the next slide shows our proposed addition. Then continuing on, the next couple of slides, we have building sections. We want to show that everything meets New York State Energy Code compliance. And then the next slide is just our typical proposed plumbing riser diagrams. And And then the next slide shows proposed and existing renderings. So the one on top is the existing south, sort of from the southeast with the neighboring houses, and the one below that is proposed. And you can just barely see to the rear where we're proposing the addition into the backyard. So the next slide, so this shows from the rear, and this is really from the park in the back. It shows the existing houses on the left and right, and then the top one is the existing with the porch, and the one below is the proposed expansion.
Hey, just a question, the bottom one, does that show the new windows?
Yeah, the bottom shows, no, it's missing, I think it's missing a couple of windows on the south facade.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. The rendering is missing some new windows which are going to be on the south side. Thank you. Very astute. Then the next slide shows really straight on from the west, the existing and proposed. The existing on top with the porch and the proposed below that. And then the next slide, just sort of a nuanced view coming around to the north, showing the existing above and the new below. And there are no new windows on the north side,
There's,
right?
no, there's actually proposed windows that aren't shown on the two sides. So
On the north side as well?
Yeah, on both sides, the south and the north, there are proposed windows that didn't get incorporated into the renderings that you're looking at right now. There was more of a focus on the massing and the exposure on the west elevation, so.
Right. The north, we're not showing any new windows on the north.
Yeah, but we were going to put a window in there for
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, so there are windows on the north side?
The current drawings don't show
Do
the,
not show that we are planning to have windows on the north side, but we are hoping to put another one in the bathroom on the other side of the bathtub. It just,
Okay.
it didn't get incorporated into this drawing set.
Okay.
okay, so continuing to, that's 5. The next slide, which would be, I think, 601, yes. So we did a series of sun-shade diagrams at the 3 times of the year and then 3 times of the day. So the number 1 is the summer solstice. Let's see, yeah, this slide is all the summer solstice at 10 a.m., at noon, and at 3 p.m. And then you can see, obviously, the house on the south, there's not going to be any effect of the new addition. And the house to the north actually has a little bit of a setback between 87 Parkway and the one to the north, 91 Parkway. So we're sort of fortunate there that the shadows won't affect the house to the north. And in fact, there's an existing tree which would be blocking the sun. The tree is probably not going to make it through the construction, but so momentarily there'll be new light and then it'll be gone again. So that's the summer solstice. Then the next slide is the equinoxes, the vernal and autumnal equinox. So this is also, again, 10 a.m., 12 noon, and 3 in the afternoon. So you can see how the shadow tracks across the lot. And then the last one, the most severe, the winter solstice, where the shadows are longest. And then you can see again at 10 a.m., 12 noon, and at 3 p.m. And there's very little new there's already existing shadows from our building going across the lot that just barely hit the south facade. And there is a little bit of an effect there. But again, there's already an existing tree there, which is casting the shadow. This won't really make much of a difference, we don't think. So that is our proposal.
Two questions
Yes.
for me, anyway. Most of them were answered by your presentation, but did we hear anything from any neighbors other than the one handwritten letter that we we got up here? Anyone, are the homeowners are here?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing?
No, we,
Okay.
we spoke, I tried to call Edith before, who owns 91 Parkway.
Right.
But it's all, people who live in the house are all renters.
Right.
And I just, Edith never called me back.
Yeah, it looked like there are a lot of two-family houses, the way they were owned in terms of LLCs, all of that. One other question, totally unrelated to this, but just, I came over to your house to look around. Where do you park?
In the lot across from the old Avalon, in the train station.
Got it. Okay. Okay, great.
I had a question. When was the house built? Do you know, originally? Just roughly.
1906? 1906?
1906, okay. So that may account for the nonconformity of that whole row.
Yeah. I assume that's before the zoning.
Right.
Yeah,
Well before.
well before,
Long before.
yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Any other questions?
Any questions? I don't see anyone from the public. No one's hiding under any benches that I'm aware of. Yeah, I do have one question, is the roof on the addition, is that a flat roof, slanted roof, and did you consider putting in a pitched roof?
On the addition
Yeah.
is a shed roof. It's a sloped metal roof.
Right,
Would have a gutter and would be properly drained.
okay. Okay,
It's a low, the reason we propose a metal roof because it is a relatively low slope roof. It's not a low slope roof.
yeah, into the mic.
It's the metal, the roof is a standing seam metal roof, and it's proposed as such because of the slope parameters would not allow for an asphalt roof
Right,
shingle.
okay.
So I just have one question, but Paul's not here. I'm curious, with the addition, does it require any additional, dry wells or anything like that, catch basins, like a Cultec or anything like that? I'm just curious.
So the project will be reviewed by a civil engineer to make sure that, we covered all of our bases, head basin-wise. It was not required for this phase of the presentation.
And what do you do with the air conditioning condensers? Because I believe they were in back?
So they're actually just going to be pushed out virtually at the same location relative to the steps, but pushed out. So they're still in the rear yard. They're not going any closer, to...
And there's not enough space to put them presumably in the side yard, right?
Right,
It's
right.
it's too tight. It's too tight, okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Just a practical question. When you do the construction, I noticed that, how do you get anything back there to do it? Or what's the,
Good question.
Related to the parking question.
Yeah, we spoke with Phil about that. Phil's our neighbor at 85, and they've been incredibly gracious when we've needed to, take a tree down, for example, in our backyard. So I think we'll be able to work with them, and we also spoke with a couple of contractors who, deal with tight spaces like that, and would be able to get things in and out on that side yard.
okay,
Right.
got it.
I would just add to that, we're actually doing a project in Brooklyn right now, a townhouse expansion, where there are no side yards, and it has been this is a more expansive renovation where they've had to excavate, and they've literally brought it out bucket by bucket through the front
Oh,
door.
boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
So no heavy machinery in the backyard.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
wow, wow. Okay, all right, so let me, no other questions, comments? Let me propose a resolution that the Zoning Board of Appeals grant to the residents of 87 Parkway Road variances from Section 310-11 as follows. So since this is a non-conforming lot, there are a number of variances which I will list here. Variance number 1, the side yard setback required is 12 feet. Side yard 1 is 1 foot 8 inches. Side yard 2 is 3 feet 5 inches. No proposed changes. Variance required 10 feet 4 inches for side yard 1, 8 feet 7 inches for side yard 2. Variance number 2, rear yard required 30 feet, existing is 26 feet 9 inches. Proposed change is 22 feet 1 inch, and a decrease of 4 feet 8 inches, or 18%. Total variance required 7 feet 11 inches. Variance number 3, building coverage required 25% maximum, existing is 47%. A proposed change increases that to 51%, a 4% increase. Total variance required 26%. And last variance, number 4, is FAR. Required is .49 maximum, existing .84. Proposed change to 1.03, .19 increase, or 23%. Total variance required .54. Do you all follow all of that?
Absolutely.
Perfectly. So let me start with you, Marty. Your thoughts?
I think this is pretty easy, at least from my perspective. I think that the zoning really shouldn't apply to this section in the way it's historically structured, that your extension is no different than either of the two sides. It's towards the back. There's a slope down to the field. Nobody can see any of the changes, so there's no obstruction. And I think it makes, frankly, the building look more conforming to the other neighbor houses. So I'm very much in favor of the variance.
Okay, thanks, Marty. Charlie?
I'm ordinarily opposed to increasing the mass of houses in Bronxville. However, given some of the severe limitations of this lot project, I'm comfortable with this variance and would vote in favor of it.
Great, thanks, Charlie. Mary Ellen?
I agree with my colleagues. I think this will make it fit in a little better with its neighboring homes, and it really will not be noticed by anyone, because you can barely see it even right now with all the leaves down from the field and from the parking lot over there. So I think it'll be a nice addition.
John?
Yeah, I'm in favor of my colleagues. I think the benefit sought is very feasible for what they want to accomplish, and I'm in favor.
Great, thank you. And along with my colleagues, I also support this variance, and I would also like to highlight the quality and thoroughness of the application. That was well done. So congratulations. Variance granted. Therefore, that closes out the public hearing. I just need my fellow members here on an unrelated matter. We need to have a resolution from last, Jim Stout sent around a resolution from last meeting on one governor. I assume you've all read that?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye. No objections? Christina, that resolution is approved. Great, thank you.